Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And I believe there are boys and girls who are joining us today as well. So thank you very much for being on time and being early with us here today. For those of you who don't know me yet, my name is Ching Yu Tan, and I've been helping speakers expand their reach across Asia since 2012, together with a summit, and right now together with the amazing Groove Asia community. And really what I want to do is to present to you, amazing speakers from all around the world who will totally transform your mindset, mission, and moves to take you to the next level of your life. So before we begin, we are going to set a couple of house rules, okay, to ensure that you get the best experience possible. Okay, so first, we want to keep an open mind and learn, because today, we all want to be able to receive information at 100%. Set aside our judgments, just be open to learning new concepts, new ideas. Even if you've heard it before, it may be shared in a different angle and different way where you can pick up nuances that will make the difference in your life. And next, be active, interact with each other in the chat box and over here live as well. Be respectful with each other. And please, please, please do turn on your camera. I see you, Michelle. I see you, Teresita. You switch it on and then you just switch it off. Oh, there you are again. Seon Leong, thank you. Madhu, I see you. I see you. Thanks. Dylan, Chin, On Hong, Sri Krishna. Good to see you. Good, good, good. Yes, please do switch on your cameras throughout this session, because this will help us interact with you better and really give you the most out of this session. So do participate at 100% and make sure that you have either your word processor or your notebook ready to take down tons and tons of notes. And of course, I would like to thank Summit for organizing and making this happen, together with Groove Asia for sponsoring this session and bringing Grant all the way from the UK online here to be with us today. And I'd like to share a little bit more about Grant. Grant is fast becoming one of the most sought after names in the world of human communication. He is an international speaker, transformation expert, certified trainer in NLP and hypnotherapy. He's an international best-selling author, radio show presenter, and entrepreneur. Over the past 19 years, Grant Murrell and his international team have helped thousands of entrepreneurs, businesses, and organizations across 15 countries to increase their profits by up to 200%, often in just a matter of a few short months. By working on their team, their systems, their mindset, and their strategy to essentially help them generate more money in less time, have less stress, and more fun and fulfillment in their lives and their businesses. Grant's ultimate mission is to help people design a life, business, organization, or foundation that will allow them to embrace their passion, purpose, freedom, wealth, and happiness, and to create a legacy to last for generations to come. Grant is regarded as a thought leader, world-class coach, mentor, consultant, and a trainer who is in demand across many countries. So ladies and gentlemen, please switch on your cameras and let's give a warm welcome to Grant Murrell.
Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. So let me ask you, how many of you here, by a show of hands, would like to make more money? Good, good. Thank you. And how many of you would like to have more free time? Good, good. Glad to know that. Well, my name is Grant Murrell, as you heard, and I'm an international speaker, coach, and trainer. And I have the enormous privilege of speaking to audiences all over the world and helping people. And it is truly my passion to do that. And I'll share that with you more as we go on. But before we do that, I would love you all to help me to thank some very special people here today. And those people are you. Because I know that you've taken time out of your busy lives, from your loving families, busy jobs, or demanding businesses, to be here on a weekend to invest in your future. And that is something that's very special to my heart, and it means a lot to me. So please go ahead and give yourselves a big round of applause. Come on, do it. Come on, I can see it. That's it. You deserve that. I love that. I love that, Teresa. Big round of applause. I love that. Well done. Fantastic. So I also would like you to help me thank some other people. And those people are the people from Summit. John, Sam, Calvin, and of course, my good colleague here, Ching Yu. Because without those people, we wouldn't be here today. They've, one way or another, they've touched all of our lives. We've connected with us. We're all in so many different countries. And we've come here today to help take our lives to a next level and really, hopefully, do some fantastic things in the world. So please, will you please join me and give them a huge, huge round of applause and enough gratitude. Come on. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. All right, all right, all right. So if you're anything like me, you're probably asking yourself, who is this guy? Some of you have heard it before, some of you haven't. But what am I going to learn from him in the next 2 days about sales, about marketing, and about business and about mindset? How many of you are thinking that right now? Thank you, and thank you for your honesty. Well, if I could show you $1 million closing techniques, would that be good for you? Yes or no? Would that be exciting? Fantastic. If I could show you 22 different ways to market, would that be a good use of your time? And if I could show you 5 of the world's very best closing techniques, would that be worth listening to? Yes or no? Yep, good stuff. I'm getting some hearts there. That's really fantastic. I love to hear that. So, all right, so you've heard about all the wonderful things that happens in life, and it's true. There's some great things going on in my life, and I've really, really had a great time and enjoyed every moment of it. I love sharing it. But let me tell you, like most people, it wasn't always like that. Not at all. There was a time quite some years ago when I had a business, and it seemed to be going quite well on the surface. It was going quite well. I enjoyed it. To be honest, everybody came to me because I was the guy with all the answers. It was great. I was working for myself. I had people working for me. I had suppliers, clients. Everything was great. It all seemed really, really good. And then one day, completely out of the blue, one major client, cancelled the contract. Wow, that was a pretty big blow. But let's be honest, that happens. That can just be bad luck. So, not a problem. I had other clients. I carried on, and I carried on. 1 month after, bang, another client cancelled the contract. One cancellation could be bad luck. 2, unfortunate coincidence maybe. Okay, still had more clients, so I carried on. 3 weeks after, my friends, 3 weeks after, another client cancelled the contract. Can you imagine how I felt? I couldn't pay the people who worked for me. I couldn't pay the suppliers. I couldn't pay myself. And I felt at that point that everything I'd learned in my life, everything I'd learned in my business had been a waste of time. Everything I'd learned had been useless. And most of all, I felt useless. And you know what? I didn't tell anyone. I kept it all inside. Worst of all, people still kept asking me for the answers because they thought I was the guy with the answers, and I felt worthless. Can you imagine how that felt? I've never had a time in my life like it. But fortunately, I became curious because losing one client, bad luck. Two, a coincidence. Three, well, I didn't know what was going on. And it turned out that none of them were unhappy with the service. No. Every single one of them was delighted with the service. So what was going on? So I became curious because I thought at some level, that must be my fault. At some level, I must be attracting that. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Right. There's something I was doing. I must be running some negative pattern to bring this on. What was going on, I thought. So I went out, I got curious. Now, this is not a very glamorous story, I promise you this. I got very curious. I went out, I bought books, I went to webinars, I went to workshops like this. And I'll be honest with you, sometimes I knew I needed the answer. And I went to those workshops and I got on a train to go there. And I had to put the train ticket on a credit card. And I had no idea how I was going to pay that at the end of the month. I promise you. And it wasn't easy. Thank God, because I'm not that kind of guy. I was kind of risk adverse in those days. Something told me to do it because I thought there's no point in trying to save that little bit because it's not going to make any difference anyway. I was in so much mess. Another, I don't know, £15, $220 on a train ticket wasn't going to make a huge difference. But I had to get to these webinars to understand what was going on. And I did. And gradually, I started piecing stuff together. I got coached by the best of the best. And yes, I went and borrowed to do that. And I got coached by the best people in the world. And slowly, it started coming together. Slowly, I started seeing the mistakes that I had made and how this had happened. And then I started turning it all around. Instead of clients who didn't pay me, and by the way, I found out later, they didn't pay me. Why? They didn't pay anyone. It was nothing particular to me. I just had a low self-worth. I didn't do my due diligence. If I'd have looked, the signs were there all the time. That was my learning. And that was it. And then I started turning it around. I learned from the best of the better. Thank God I got a coach. And I started seeing these patterns. I started turning it around. I started getting the right people who wanted to work with me. I managed to pay back all the money to the people who had worked for me, all the suppliers. I paid back the bank and I got to pay myself back. And I can promise you that felt fantastic. And then I just started attracting clients who apply to work with me and pay me before I do the work. And then it clicked. I look back at how bad I'd felt during that time. And I never, ever wanted to go back to that. And at that point, I realized, Grant, you can't be the only person who's made these mistakes. You can't be the only person who's running those negative patterns. You can't be the only person who had great dreams, but didn't achieve them because a few things were going wrong. And I thought on that day, I never want anyone else to ever feel or go through what I went through. And that's why I vowed at that point to share with everything I'd learned, packaged it together, distilled it, to share this with as many people as I can around the world. And that now is my life's mission. And I'll tell you more about that later. But that's precisely why I'm here today at 6 a.m. in the UK, being with people like you, because it's my passion to help people like that. And that's why I'm here. So let me ask you, how many of you are ready to learn? If you are, put I'm ready in the chat box. Because I am ready to go, my friends. I'm ready to go. All right. So let's take a look at this. Let's take a look if we can. I'm going to share my screen if I can. Can everybody see that? Is that good? Can you just put it in the chat box if you can see it? You guys are good with that? Ching Yu, can you see that? Yeah. Ching Yu?
Yes, we can.
You can see that. Fantastic. Okay, great stuff. I'm pleased to hear it. Okay, so this is me, international coach, trainer, speaker. And in fact, Ching Yu, this is where we met maybe, what, I don't know, 12 years ago. I think I remember we was in London, if I remember correctly. We was in London and there was a vendor room. There was a big multi-speaker event. And I was in the hallway. We had a stand. We were there. And at the time, I was trying to build preview events, trying to get people to come to events which were small taster events before the bigger event, right? We were there and I was looking around trying to get people in one by one, trying to get them in. And as I did, I looked around and I saw someone who had a crowd of people with him, a crowd of people following him around. And I thought, who's that guy? I thought, you know what? If I could ask that guy to come to the preview, that guy would bring 5 or 6 people with him, because he seems to be a bit of a leader of his community. And I spoke to the guy and I asked his name, and his name was Ching Yu. And at that point, I said, would you want to come to this preview? And he said, okay. And then I said, I guess your friends will come with you, right? He said, yeah, sure. And I did. And that's when we first met. And that's when you came to our first preview. And then the preview went to a workshop, etc., etc. And we stayed in contact throughout those times, didn't we? We stayed in contact and saw how everybody's journey went from different sides of the world, looking at different speakers, different techniques, seeing what's working. And this is exactly why we're here today. So this is me, international best-selling author, keynote speaker, coach, trainer, radio show presenter, and entrepreneur. And it is indeed my pleasure to do what I do. Okay, so let's take a look at what we are doing after this. So this is me. This is the things I do. Now, I'm actually on a mission right now. I'm actually in some circles known as the success pilot. Why? Because I am on a mission to build a global network to skillfully navigate 1 million leaders from surviving to thriving, by helping them to communicate their message with the world so that they can leave the world in a better condition than what they found it, and create a lifestyle and a business that becomes a legacy for generations to come. And that's what's really passionate about me and with my life, and that's why I'm here today. So life was tough. So who are these people? You may recognize some of these people. These are some of the people that I've trained with and I've coached with and shared the stage with. Mac Atcham is a great coach of mine, a friend. We do workshops together, and I've known him for 12 years. We bumped together, bumped into each other at a conference, in fact, in a different country. And I remember looking around the room and everybody felt different. But when I saw that guy, I thought, he looks like how I feel. And we connected and we've worked together ever since. Anthony Robbins, you know this guy, the big man. What's going on with your life? Anthony Robbins, you know that guy, right? Always very great about what's going on in your mind. How can you improve your performance? Robert Kiyosaki, the Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I'm sure a lot of you have heard that book and read that. Well, let me ask you, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, it's all about the mentality, isn't it? It's about poor thinking versus rich thinking. I've learned so much from that about acquiring assets, and also from his board games, Cashflow 101, Cashflow 202. And Blair Singer, I recently interviewed him, and we all 3 of us here, we get together on a weekly basis and actually share stuff with the world. But the great thing about him is all about people. It's about teams, it's about sales, and it's about people's personality. These are the greatest collection of people that I've worked with, and it is a pleasure to work with them. And there's the point. Coaches have coaches, okay? Coaches have coaches. So I want you to remember that. Coaches have coaches, and thank God back in that day that I got a coach then. And now I have 3 coaches, and it's the best thing you could ever do. Okay.
Grant, just to cut in, your slide is not in show mode. It's currently in your notes.
Oh, it's in my notes. Oh,
Yep.
okay. I'm sorry. Sorry, bud. Is that better?
Uh, yes, if you could put it into full screen. Oh, okay, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Continue.
Is that better?
Okay.
Okay, thank you, my friend. Thank you. So let me ask you, business requires something. What does business require, guys? What does business require? What do you think? What does it require? Put it in the chat box. Put it in the chat box. What does business require? There's many ways to energy. Anything else apart from energy. What do you think success requires? And business requires passion. Absolutely, man. Passion. Different solutions to a different problem. Money, power, motion, energy, all great things, right? Drive. Absolutely. They really, really do. All of these are true. But the key one here, the key thing is, as it says here, is energy. I love enthusiasm, by the way. But business requires energy. What does it require, guys? Put it in the chat box. What does it require? Energy, energy, energy. Thank you. It requires energy. So what do I mean by energy? Business requires energy. What does that mean? What I mean is when two people come together, the person with the highest energy usually wins. I'll say it again. When two people come together, the person with the highest energy usually wins. I'll give you an example. Think of it this way. If you go to your boss or you go to see a prospect or a client, you go there, you talk to them about an idea for their business. And you've got your proposal and you say to them, I've outlined some features and benefits which might help your company in the future. And I've made a 42-point dossier of really how we can help you. And do you think that's going to get the deal? Yes or no? What do you think, guys? Put it in the chat box. Are we going to get the deal like that? No. Okay, no. Of course you're not, because there's no energy, there's no passion, there's no enthusiasm. Because if you're not enthusiastic about what you're doing, then guess what? Nobody else is going to be enthusiastic. Now, this may sound obvious and this may sound basic, but remember, you said this earlier. If you've heard it before, there's a reason you're hearing it again. There's a reason. And you may want to know what that reason is. It could be one of about 4 reasons. If you've heard something, you think, I've heard that before, it's because A, you didn't do it. B, it might be you did it for a while and stopped. C, might be even worse, that you did it, it was really working really well, and for some unknown reason, you just stopped doing what was working. And that's a classic thing that people do in business. They find something that works, keep doing it, and then stop. Surprisingly enough. Or D, you did it, it works, and you didn't share it with anybody else. And I want you to think about that for a moment. Okay. So business requires energy. Have any of you got kids? Have any of you got kids? If you have, put kids in the chat box. If any of you have got kids. I'm sure quite a few of you had kids. Okay. Now, do kids have energy? Yes or no? Do kids have energy? Yeah, lots and lots of energy. If kids want to go, I don't know, and see a certain child's movie, or they want to go and play somewhere, they want to eat something, do they let you know about it? You have 4? Lydia, wow, Lydia, you have 4 kids. Do they let you know about it if they want to do something? Do they let you know? Or do they just keep quiet about it? What do you think? What's your experience? They let you know, right? They make some noise. They've got some energy. And I know you parent your kids very, very well, I'm sure. But they will give it energy. And if they've got more energy than you, quite often they win. So think about that. Think about your energy. Think about managing your energy throughout every day. And in fact, throughout these 2 days, I want you to manage your own energy. Is that okay, guys? Yeah? I want you to manage your energy. And I want to ask you, very noisy grandkids, and they're very, very noisy. I love that. But think about this. I want you to manage your energy. And if I see anyone's energy dropping, can I have permission to remind you about that? Is that okay? Is that okay? Good. Thank you, Madhu. Because I want actually to do that, because I want to bring out the very best in you, because I want this weekend to be outstanding for you and to take your life and your business or your career from where you are to the very next step. And we're going to do that with energy. So it's very easy to let energy drop sometimes, but you need to remind yourself how to bring that back up. Okay. So I want you to have some water. I want you to keep hydrated, have some snacks, and keep ready and be ready to stretch. Okay. Is that good? Fantastic. Good, 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 good. So, right, we got this. Business requires energy, and we're going to check in to see where your energy level are at certain times. Okay, good, good. So now I had a big mission. I felt I really wanted to do something big in the world, especially when I had that epiphany all those years ago. I really wanted to do something big in the world. So how many of you felt that you have someone bigger inside of you just bursting to get out? If you have, type me in the chat box. Aha, Madhu, you do. Anybody else? Gerda, thank you. Good. George, okay, brilliant. I'm pleased to hear this. We got people who've got something bigger in them. You want to do something special in the world. Good, good. Well, I want to share this with you. This may look familiar. This is you here. And then there's the bigger version of you, the one inside you who's just bursting to get out. But quite often, people don't quite know how to get from where they are to where they want to be. Sound familiar? Okay, good. So let's think about this. There's some things that's true. Thank you. So think about this. Where you want to get there, a lot of people think, well, how can we do it? And they think, well, I want to have some things, yes or no? How many of you want to have some things in this world? I think we all want to have things, right? So let's say, for example, you want to have money. Which one of you here want to have more money? If so, type money in the chat box so I can see which ones you are. Thank you, Jeffrey. Money? Oh, I can't even keep up with that. Everybody wants money. Lenny, Vijay, Lenny, wow. George, great. Money. Good, good, good. And money's a good thing, isn't it? Money's a great thing. People talk about money. Is money good? Is money bad? Is it evil? Well, money is purely a magnifier, my friends. It's just a magnifier. It magnifies who you are. If you're a bad person, I'm sure no one here is, but if you're a bad person, it gives you the ability to be more bad, maybe. If you're a good person, it gives you the ability to be more good. Help yourself and help more people. Money is purely a magnifier. Money is just purely an energy source, just like electricity, just like gas, just like your mobile phone bill. You pay money to buy electricity, for Wi-Fi, and we all do that on a regular basis. It's just a unit to exchange energy. That's all that money is. Money. Thank you, Vea. Thank you. Money is just that. So I want people to start thinking of it that way. Thank you, Vijay. Money is a magnifier. Absolutely. Just start thinking of money as an energy source. And the reason I say this is that some people have some real big issues around money. Or as I often say to people, people are funny with money. People get funny with money. They've got things holding them back. It may be because of things that have happened in the past, in their childhood, growing up, things they've heard. Could be cultural. Could be because we've known some bad people with money. And do they exist? Absolutely. Does that mean to say that's got to be you? Absolutely not. Money is just a magnifier and it's an energy source. It's just a piece of paper which doesn't particularly mean anything apart from the words written on it that says, I promise to pay the bearer. That's all it is. And we all use and exchange money on a daily basis for Wi-Fi, for electricity, for food, for rent, for mortgages. Anything we do is money. It's purely an energy source. Okay. So I think a lot of here, we all want to get money. Yes or no? Yeah. Good. I'm glad about that, because otherwise this would have been a very strange weekend if you didn't. And I would have been talking to people who weren't interested. So that's fantastic. Good, good. So money. A lot of people got a bigger version of them inside, just bursting to get out. They want to make great things in the world, but they don't quite know how. They know they want to have money. How many of you want to have more loving relationships? Put that in the chat box. Loving. How many of you would like to have loving relationships? Me, Vijay, Dylan. Okay, great. Vijay says loving me. Does that mean to say you would like loving, or you just like loving yourself? What does that mean? Okay. Just kidding, just kidding. Yeah, so money and loving relationships. Because if you have a loving relationship, of course, you can fulfill yourself more. And of course, one of the greatest ways to have a great loving relationship with someone else is to learn to love yourself first. Okay. This is a cash flow injection workshop, but the way we inject cash flow is often what's going on up here. Make sense? Just like when my business was going wrong all those years ago, it wasn't the work I was doing, it was something that was going wrong up here. Okay. And of course, to have a best loving relationship, you learn to love yourself first so that you have more to give to others. Your cup is overflowing, as they say. Make sense? Good, great, good. Wow, you took the words out of my mouth. Makes sense. Good, good. So making money, having more money so you can help yourselves and others, loving relationships, learning to love yourself, let your cup overflow so you've got more to give to someone else, and have a loving, fulfilling relationship. Sounds fantastic. And then more happiness, more fun, more fulfillment, more happiness. And this is what I love to help people do. I often say I like to help people make more money in less time, have less stress, more loving, fun, and fulfillment. Would that be okay if we can help you do that? Would that be good? Yes or no? Good, good, good. Well, that's the objective. So here's the thing. Most people will say, well, you know what? I want to have all these things in the world. And once I've got all the money I want, once I've got all the money, once I've got all the loving relationships, once I've got all of that, then I'll have all the happiness in the world. And that will be great. And then once I've got all of that, then I'll do all the things that I need to do. I'll do all the right things. I'll do all the right things. I'll help other people. I'll work on myself. I'll do all the right things. I'll map it all out, and everything that never got done, I'll write all the wrongs I did in my life. And then I'll become the person that I need to become. Huh? What? Does that sound right to you guys? What do you think? Does that sound like a good strategy or a bad strategy? What do you think? No. Okay, so no, bad. What's wrong with that? Guys, put it out in the chat box. What's wrong with that strategy? Tell me. I want to see where you're seeing this. What are you thinking? What are you seeing that's wrong with that? Love to know what you're doing. What are you thinking? Why is this ringing alarm bells for you? You have to be happy now. Love that. You do, Michelle. Absolutely. You have to be happy now. It can be good now. Can be a good one later. Oh, can't. Okay. Right. Yep. Got that, Nadu. That's good. Well, let's explore this for a moment. Let's think of anything that you wanted in your life. Anything that anyone's invented. I don't know. How to make a sailing ship. How to fly, how to create an aeroplane, Wi-Fi, cryptocurrency, any of these things, anything you ever wanted in your life, anything from wanting to buy a skirt or a suit, go to college, university, come here today, anything you wanted in your life was first created where? Where was this created, first of all? in your flow. Love that, Dylan. In your mind, Madhu, absolutely. It was first created in your mind. And I want you to write that down, guys. Write that down. It was first created in my mind. Everything you do is created in your mind. So I want to ask you, who was or who is Usain Bolt? Let's explore this. Let's explore this and unwrap this. Thank you, VJ. Who's Usain Bolt? Does everybody know who Usain Bolt is? Yes, Madhu. Who is Usain Bolt? Who is Usain Bolt? He's fast, Christian. He absolutely is. He's very fast. A sprinter. Yeah, absolutely. Fastest man on track. Thank you. Usain Bolt was the fastest man on track. He is an Olympic athlete. Now, to become an Olympic athlete, does that happen by accident? I don't think so. No, it doesn't happen by accident. So let's work this out. So did he become an Olympic athlete and then suddenly discover it? That think, oh yeah, I want to be an Olympic athlete or not? No, you're right. He didn't, did he? First of all, he decided long before he was an Olympic athlete, long before, he decided where in his mind that I am going to become a world-class athlete. I am going to win races. It's going to be my full-time thing. I am going to become an Olympian. I am going to be the elite. I am going to become the fastest man on track. He decided. So first of all, he decided in his mind to become that person in his mind. Decided to become. Now, by the way, this is not faking it before you make it, because yes, I said I was an international best-selling author. Recently, myself and a group of people got together with Dr. John D. Martini and wrote this book, The Law of Brand Attraction 2. And I wrote in there about not faking it before you make it, okay? And there's a difference between faking it and visualizing it and making a decision to make a plan. There's a very big difference in that. I don't advocate faking it before you make it. Don't worry if you've done it, but I can show you a much better way of doing it, a much more congruent way of achieving it. And what about this? Why don't you just decide to become the person you want to be? So I want to ask you right now, who do you want to become? Thank you, actually. Who do you want to become? Put that in the chat box. What do you want to achieve? And by the way, there's no right or wrong answers here. If you just want to become, you know, the best parent in the world to your children, if you want to live a simple, happy life, I absolutely applaud that. That's great. If you want to make a multi-million-dollar company, I'm fine with that also. If you want to be a philanthropist, whatever. But who do you want to be? You want to achieve financial freedom. Thank you, Lily. Great way to go. Great way to go. Financial freedom. And that's going to allow you to do more things, right? You want to be a millionaire. Good, good. I like that. You want to become a millionaire. Good, good. Perfect man as an entrepreneur. I like that, Vijay. A perfect man as an entrepreneur. Because it says something. You want to become the perfect man in your eyes, right? I like that. That's good. That's good as a millionaire. Be me. Ah, Dylan, I love that. Be me. We're going to come to that later. Thank you. Be me. Better me to help others. Jeffrey, the best leader to my family. I love that. Become the best version of myself. Multi-millionaire company with a pool of amazing talents, Madhu. Oh, I like that. And that's going to come out later on as well. I'm going to show you how we can help achieve that. Would that be good, by the way, Madhu? Would that be helpful? Cool. And that's what we're going to do. So we got the point, first of all. So Usain Bolt decided in his mind to become the fastest man on track, an Olympian, an athlete. So he decided it. And then do you think he mapped some things out? Yes or no? And I want to look at this. He mapped some things out. He made a list of all the things he had to do from where he was in his mind to becoming an Olympian to actually achieving becoming an Olympian. But there was this gap, isn't there? This is gap analysis, right? What do you need to have? And he made a list of all the things he needed to do. What's the word, please, guys? What's the word? All the things you needed to do. Put that in the chat box. I want to see you're getting this. Do. Train his mind. Do. The word is do. Made a list of all the things he needed to do in order to have what he wanted, which was to become an Olympian. Which, did you think that gave him money? Yes or no? Yes, it gave him all the money he wanted, the loving relationships and the happiness he wanted. So if you write 3 things down from here, it's be, do, have. Okay, makes it be, do, have. This is it. So I want to just unpack that a little bit, if I may. Thank you, Jenta. Thank you, Gerda. Thank you. Be, do, have. So they've decided to become it and then to do it. So let's take a look at Usain Bolt. What are your things he needed to do in order to become an Olympic athlete? What do you think? What did he need to do? Write them in the chat box, guys. And if anybody hasn't written in a chat box yet, come on, get active. Remember, success requires energy. Those who put more in, get more out. So come on. He needed to train, Madhu. Absolutely. Jeffrey says personal sacrifice. 100% correct. Sacrifice. Work hard. Yep. Let's get a little bit more specific. What else are you thinking? So he needed to train, right? What kind of training do you think? What kind of training did he do? Thanks, VJ. To be consistent with training, absolutely. He needed to have a regime, yes or no? And do you think some days you just couldn't be bothered to train? What do you think? I think some days he didn't bother, he couldn't be bothered to train. Thank you, Madhu. He got a coach, didn't he? He got a coach. Do you think he had one coach, though? I rather suspect he had several. He probably had someone to coach him on his diet. I mean, let's be honest. Do you think he can go out and eat McDonald's and be an athlete? Do you think that's what he was doing? I think not. I think he had a coach for food and nutrition. Absolutely. Now, he was probably naturally quite a fast runner, but you think there was something about technique perhaps involved with that? I think perhaps there was some technique. So let's think about this. He probably had a coach to coach him on his running technique. What about his sleep pattern? Do you think sleep pattern made a big difference? He probably had a coach for his sleeping pattern, his food, his running, and all kinds of things. Do you think he perhaps has something to help him with his mindset? Because, I mean, let's be honest, there's a lot of fast runners and there's a lot of people who want to be an Olympic athlete, and they are, by default, reasonably competitive people. So he probably had a reasonable amount of competition there. So how'd you get ahead of the competition? Boom. What's going on here? What's going on in your mind, my friends? So I think he had 3, 4 coaches at least, and probably more, because he took it seriously. So he became in his mind who he wanted to be. He made a list of all the things he needed to do to eat right, to sleep right, to count those carbs, to count those calories, to know when to sleep, to know when to run, to know how to run, to know when to conserve energy and when to exude energy. There's that word again, energy. He learned all those things. He learned how to control his mind. Because here's the things, my friends. People are always eager to learn more strategies in life, strategies, software, packages to do this. And it amazes me because something you may or may not know about me, I'm an expert in human behavior profiling. Yeah, body language, reading people, all of this stuff, watching people on TV, criminals, liars, and telling who's lying. And I read all of this stuff, okay? This is what I do, and this is how I analyze people. very, very well. And this works in sales. So let me tell you, he had to learn this. Most people in life, they want to learn different things. They want to change the world. They want to change other people. The biggest mistake they make, they're not willing to change themselves. That's the key tip here. You've got to work on yourself if you want to change anything in the world. Nothing's going to change until we change ourselves. You got it. You got it, Gerda. Mindset, the gap between our ears. Absolutely. So most people learn how to operate other things, but they never, ever learn how to operate themselves. Oh my, what a mistake that is, because it doesn't matter what you're doing. I was doing a podcast the other day, and I was interviewing a guy who had a fabulous house, and he worked from home, and he had all his clients in time, so he had a dream home. And something went wrong. He didn't learn too much about business, and he had to sell the home. And like he said, it wasn't just a home, it was his dream home. But he sold it. And of course, he didn't know he could have rented it out, but he didn't even know that. He sold it, lost his dream home, took that money, but invested it again in getting coached and learning things, and learned so much about himself. What I said at that point was, you are actually a very shrewd investor. You probably didn't realize it back then, but you're a very shrewd investor because you invested in the best thing in the world you can ever invest in. And that is yourself. Because it doesn't matter what you do in life, whether you're a family person, a business person, or both, a philanthropist, this, that, it doesn't matter. It all comes from you. Artificial intelligence, fantastic, right? Who invented that? A human. Human beings, you are all absolutely incredible. You have the most sophisticated machinery and electricity, because we are electricity and chemicals. That's what human beings are. You have all of this inside of you. You are fabulous. But we use a fraction of our ability, a fraction. It's shameful. We can do so much more in this world if we learn how to operate ourselves. So yes, my friends, if you invest in yourself, if you change your mind, you can change the world. And if you can have a manual how to operate it, absolutely. And that's what I work on. Because by working on the inside helps to change the outside. Because when you're faking it, people can tell. And I'm going to come to that a little bit later. Okay, cool. So be, do, have. Become the person in your mind. Do all the things you need to do. And I mean all the things you need to do to have what you need to have. And then you have the money, the loving relationships, and all the happiness you need. And if you feel that's a lot to do, don't worry. Remember the analogy. If you've got a lot of things to do, how do you eat an elephant, guys? How do you eat an elephant? I'm sure you've heard this one. Having a coach does help a lot indeed. How do you eat an elephant? Huge, big thing, right? One bite at a time. Absolutely. You've probably eaten several things the size of elephants in your life, but not all in one day. One bite at a time. When you chunk it down into small bite-sized pieces, it's easier. Anybody here done any NLP? Any NLP here in the room? If you are, just put NLP in the chat box. Any NLP people? NLP, thank you, George. NLP. In NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, Vila, fantastic. Good to be in good company with you guys. I'm a certified trainer in NLP. We talk a lot about chunking it down and chunking it up, right? Chunking is a really big part. And this is a great thing to help people with overwhelm. So if you look at where you are, who you decide to be, and what you want to have, and all that list of things in between, if that seems like a lot, don't worry. We just chunk it down into bite-sized chunks, just like milestones, just the same way that we build goals. Small bite-sized goals, small bite-sized chunks, and then you can achieve them and you have what you want. Is this good, by the way, guys? Is this making sense? If so, make sense in the chat box if this is making sense.